What if the part of you that hurts the most is also the part holding the key to your evolutions? Pluto doesn't just orbit in the shadows. He is the shadow and the treasure buried within it. Pluto turns retrograde, a cosmic invitation to look inward, in what we have suppressed, feared, or given away. But this isn't just a cycle. This is a mirror into the truth of power, grief, death, and resurrection, not only for you, but for the entire collectives. Pluto is not a surface-level planet. He doesn't speak in likes or soundbites. He speaks in soul contracts, in silence, in what we don't want to see. And yet, when we dare to look, he offers something no other planet does: radical transformation, soul initiation, and power reclaimed. Hello everyone, welcome to the Forgotten Sky series, Ancient Names, Modern Keys. In this series, we journey into the mystic layers of astrology, beyond the familiar planets, to meet the celestial archetypes that orbit at the edge of knowing. Some call them minor bodies, asteroids, centaurs, dwarf planets, or trans-Neptunian objects. But their influence is anything but minor. They are the myth keeper of the cosmos, named after gods, healers, outcasts, and primal forces. They carry stories long buried, now rising again, just when we need them most. Each name ancient. Its orbit is a key to forgotten truth, to soul memory, to the wounds that shape us, and the power that can be born from them. And today we begin with Pluto, the Lord of the Underworld, a force of death, regeneration, and transformation. And we will continue with Chiron, the wounded healer. Now, let us begin this journey into the forgotten sky. In ancient myth, Pluto was known as Hades, the unseen one. He didn't sit on Mount Olympus. He ruled the Underworld, a kingdom of fire and forgotten truth. When Persephone was abducted by Hades, it was not merely an act of violation. It was an archetypal descent, the kind we all go through at least once in our lives. Who was Persephone? She was the innocent before awakening. Her descent marks the end of childhood and the beginning of soul sovereignty. And Ceres, her mother, grieves the loss with such force that the earth stopped bearing fruit. A metaphor for what happens when we deny the dark. And of course, Pluto, as the Lord of the Underworld, is he evil? Or he is the one who forces the initiation when no one else dares? This myth teaches the transformation begins when comfort ends. And so Pluto is the archetype that says, what you cling to will decay, but what you release will evolve. This is Pluto first retrograde in Aquarius this year, a sign of technology, systems, and the collective mind. The underworld is no longer just personal. It is digital, societal, and structural. You may ask yourself, where are you giving power away to algorithms, institutions, or outdated ideas? And what collective illusions are being exposed, and what personal shadow is being activated by them? This Pluto retrograde is a rare chance to unearth the roots of your unconscious conditioning before the surface erupts. So this episode isn't just about the astrology, it is about you, and whether you are ready to go deeper than convenience, to walk with the myth, to listen to your underworld, most importantly, to come back, not broken, but rebirth. Pluto in myth is about the unseen one, the underworld king, and the soul initiator. In ancient myth, Pluto was known as Hades, not a devil, but a tormentor, and the unseen one, so named because few dared to speak his name aloud. He wasn't banished. He was entrusted with the realm that no other god wanted to rule, the underworld, not a hell of punishment, but a vast kingdom of endings, of memory, of truth unspoken. While the other Olympians lived atop Mount Olympus with their feasts, politics, and quarrels, Hades sat below, cloaked in shadow, watching all things that die return to their source. What are the nature of the underworld? To the Greeks, the underworld wasn't just a place of death. It was where the soul shed its rolly robes. Mother, warrior, child, or king, and stood bare before the divine. In exoteric teachings, this realm is not a punishment. It is a purification, a descent necessary for spiritual maturation. And so Pluto as Hades guards this sacred space. He is not sentimental. He is not swayed by ego. He is the force that says, let it go. What you cling to has already served its purpose. The myth of Pluto reaches its heart in the story of Persephone. Her descent is not just about abduction. but initiation. Persephone, as the daughter of Ceres, Demeter in Greek, the goddess of agriculture and earth abundance. She was the maiden, untouched by life's shadows. One day, while picking flowers, the earth split open, and Hades rose from below in the chariot of black horses, abducting Persephone into the underworld. To the modern mind, this is often framed as violation, but in the mystics, it is about initiation. This is the story of the soul's first descent from innocence to experience, from service to deaths. Persephone would become not just a victim, but a queen of the underworld. She learns to rule what once ruled her, to navigate darkness and emerge not destroyed, but crowned. Ceres, the mother, Persephone's mother, searched desperately for her daughter. In her griefs, she withdrew her blessings for the land, and winter began. Ceres represents the emotional body, the part of us that resists change, loss, and shadow. Her griefs is the psychic winter we all feel when something or someone dear is lost to transformation. But even Ceres has to surrender, to accept that life includes death, and that no one, not even her child, can remain in perpetual springs. That represent the soul contract and the seeds. When Persephone was eventually allowed to return, Pluto offered her a gift, a pomegranate seed. By eating it, she bound herself to return to the underworld for part of each year. This is the ancient recognition that once we descend, we are forever changed. The seed is not a curse. It is a memory, a reminder that shadow is not to be escaped, but revisited, honored, and integrated. Persephone lives half the year in the light and half in the dark, and so do we. We are not whole when we live only in the light. We are only whole when we remember when we found the dark and choose to bring it home. Pluto is an archetype, the soul's deepest teacher. So who is Pluto really? He is the part of you that destroys what is false. The whisper in your breakdown that says, this too is sacred. And he is the force behind griefs, obsession, power struggles, because these are the fires that temper the soul. Pluto does not ask for surface improvement. He asks for soul surrender, and in return, he offers a gift no other planet can give. That is resurrection, but only after the truth is faced. In exoteric, Pluto is the deeper the descent, the more enduring the light. Pluto isn't a personal planet. He doesn't govern your likes and dislikes, your habits, or even your personality. He governs something much greater and far more terrifying: your soul's evolutionary will. As one of the three outer planets, with Uranus and Neptune, that orbit beyond Saturn, the boundary of the visible world. These are not planets of identity. They are planets of initiation. Uranus awakens, Neptune dissolves, and Pluto, he destroys in order to rebirth. He moves so slowly that whole generations are born under the same sign. That's why Pluto is often called a generation planet, shaping collective wounds and karmic patterns that ripple through decades. But when Pluto touches a personal planet or angle in your chart, he awakens as a deeply personal transformer, turning your life into an alchemical crucible. That is when you will feel it, the death of a relationship, the collapse of an identity, the sudden awareness that your life no longer fits and never did. They are not punishments, remember. They are initiations. As the ruling planets of Scorpio and the 8th house, the domain of death, sex, inheritance, and shared resources. But more deeply, the 8th house rules about power and powerlessness, the merging and separation, the sacred exchange between what we give and what we receive. Scorpio teaches that what is hidden is not lost. It is sacred. And Pluto, as its ruler, asks us to stop fearing the dark and learn to navigate it. On a physical level, Pluto governs the reproductive system and the organs of elimination. This includes the colon, bladder, genitals, and even the pelvis, the basin where trauma and life force are stored side by side. Think of it. Pluto governs the places where we both release and create, where we experience both death and rebirth in the body. This is no accident. Pluto's terrain is where we are most vulnerable and most powerful, and often where the two meet. In exoteric astrology, Pluto is seen as an agent of the first ray, the will and the power of the soul. But this is not willpower in the egoic sense. It is not control. It is the will to surrender, to let go of form, so that essence may emerge. Pluto's deeper purpose is liberation from illusion. He breaks the attachment to people, status, comfort, identity, that binds the soul to suffering. Unfortunately, he doesn't do it gently. Pluto brings the inevitable, and through it reveals the essential. His transits are often preceded by denial and followed by truth. It may come through crisis, but beneath the rubble it is a seed. The indestructible core of your soul. The nature of power is the reflection of the illusion of control. One of Pluto's most misunderstood aspects is power. We often think of power as dominance, but Pluto teaches that true power comes from surrender. When Pluto is active in your chart, you may try to hold on and suffer even more, or try to control others that lose yourself in the meantime, or even try to resist change but be forced to change anyway. When you surrender, you align with the very force that seems to be against you. You become the phoenix, rising not by escape, but by allowing the fire to do its works. So we can sum up some of the key words of Pluto and the soul meaning of it. In way of power, it is the reclaiming inner truth and sovereignty after loss. It is surrender, the trusting the soul path beyond ego control. It is about destruction, the necessary clearing of illusions, fixated or outdated forms. What about renewal? Not restoration of the old, but emergence of the truer self. It is intensity, the soul's refusal to live half alive. Soul contracts, encounters, and events designed for transformation, not comforts.